All right. Hi, everyone. I'm going to come back and do a part three here to the end time series I started. And I'm going to title this Elite Bloodlines and Why I Personally Don't Trust Donald Trump. Okay. And first, I want to start by kind of like laying the background as to why I believe what I believe. I've been researching this a while, and I made some notes here. I'm just going to read them. And if I feel led to elaborate on a certain topic, I will. But most researchers believe that there are 11 to 13 Illuminati bloodline families. All right. These are families that haven't necessarily ruled over a certain land, right? But they're Luciferian families that have a lot of money. They're banking families, and some people, not all researchers, but some people believe they could be represented in Revelation 17, 12 through 14, about the 10 kings that come to power. And the belief is that out of these 13 bloodline families, that one or two have been killed off by the other ones. And I can't remember the guy's name. I believe it was a guy named Stuart Ludlow or something, maybe, who taught about how during the Russian Revolution, one of these families were killed off, something like that. I vaguely remember it. For all I know, the dude's name was Bob Smith. I mean, I my memory sometimes is just it's I don't know. My memory's selective. But anyways, the belief is there was 13 of these bloodline families that aren't necessarily ruling families, like the ruling family you have in New England, right? You know, I can't remember, House of Windsor or whatever. Okay, we're not talking about those people. These are families that with money and influence, but literally haven't been given a land. How the Queen of England rules over her part of the land. And in Revelation 17, 12 through 14, you'll see there are 10 kings, and it says they've received no kingdom as of yet, but they're going to get a kingdom. So a lot of people believe that there are these Illuminati bloodline families that are like Freemason, Luciferian, worshiping kind of families, right? And they've got a lot of money and a lot of influence, but they have not been given an actual land to rule over. Okay. Out of these 13 bloodlines, a couple have been murdered off, and there's probably like 11 left, most people believe. Okay? And the belief is that the Antichrist will manifest in one of their bloodlines, okay? So like Satan will possess this guy, or this will be a Nephilim being born out of their bloodline, and he'll rule over the 10 remaining ones. And in Revelation 17, 12 through 14, that is talking about the other 10 families that don't have the Antichrist manifest in their family. They'll be given kingdoms ruled by the Antichrist, right? And these families are fighting back and forth over who the Antichrist is going to manifest through. And they believe the one with the more power, that of course, you know, the Antichrist will be born through their line because they're the most worthy, right? Okay. I'm going to go back to my notes here. It's believed by most researchers that there are 11 to 13 Illuminati bloodline families. Most researchers would also agree that these families fight with each other over control, folks. Whether it be control of a country, just trying to manipulate the politics of that country, whether it be control over money, whatever it is, they fight over, right? The only thing they really agree on is that they need to rule over the lower class of people. They just fight over who gets to do it, okay? That's the thinking, right? They all want Lucifer, Apollo, whatever you want to call them, to manifest in their bloodline. So their family gets to rule over the other families, you know? So, and again, like I said, it's linked to this prophecy, and some people think that it's linked to what's in Revelation 17, 12 through 14, and I'll read it real quick. Revelation 7, 12 through 14. And the 10 horns which thou sawest are 10 kings, which have received no kingdom as yet, but receive power as kings 1 hour with the beast. So the Antichrist is going to manifest in one of these bloodlines and give the other 10 bloodlines that are left power to rule under him, right? They had no kingdom. He's going to give them a kingdom, right? A lot of people link this to how the UN has the whole world cut up into 10 districts. And of those 10 districts, once the United Nations has control over the whole world, they've got control of the globe, then the Antichrist would be the head of the UN, and then these other 10 leaders would be appointed leaders of those 10 regions. Some people believe that. I don't know what I think about that, but it's just something that gets discussed, so I'm going to throw it in the video. Okay? Back to the Bible. They have one mind and shall give their power and strength unto the beast. So they're all going to want the same thing, and they're going to give their strength to the beast, folks. Okay? So everything they have, they're going to follow this guy. Okay? These shall make war with the Lamb, and the Lamb shall overcome them, for he is Lord of lords, King of kings, and they that are with him are called and chosen and faithful. All right. So they're going to go to war against God's people. Okay. Now, for those of you that think this is too crazy to believe, all this bloodline stuff sounds a little crazy. That doesn't really exist, right? You know, that's not really a thing that happens anywhere. Well, you might be surprised. Okay. According to the DailyMail.com here, okay, all the presidents, except for one, descended from the same king, who's an English king named King John of England, or John Lackland, okay? He's the guy who signed the Magna Carta in 2015, okay? And they say only the 8th president, Martin Van Buren, was not related to him, okay? This article was published in August of 2012, right? So, not necessarily Trump, but, I mean, Obama, you know, George Bush, both the Bushes, Barack Obama, are all related to this guy by blood, right? Okay? The article is pretty interesting. Allegedly, this little girl put together this family tree, this, that, and the other. But anyway, so just for those of you that say, oh, well, this Illuminati bloodline thing doesn't really exist, that one bloodline doesn't rule over certain areas or certain, you know, certain financial institutions. No, literally, like almost every president that's ever been president of the United States of America is blood relation to the same guy. So you can take that argument and just throw it out the window right now. It does not exist. Bloodlines are a part of our life, man. The people that are ruling in large families, ruling over financial institutions, and even the United States of America are blood related. Folks, Ted Cruz is related to George W. Bush. The senator guy in Texas or whatever that ran for president against Donald Trump, he's related to George W. Bush. Okay? So, I mean, that argument that this doesn't add, that argument that you know, bloodline families don't have that control and they're not maintained, it goes right out the window with something like this. Okay, back to my notes here because this is important. Okay. King John of England's nickname was John Lackland. Okay, that is as in Lackland, like you have no land. Okay, because he was not expected to inherit significant lands. Okay. And the rulers, the presidents of the United States don't actually have the United States. It's not a kingdom. They're president for 4 years, 2 terms, maybe 8 years, and then they're replaced with somebody else. So they don't actually own the property. So, I mean, that's kind of interesting. So, I don't know what you do with that, but I thought I'd throw that in there just by virtue of his nicknames kind of almost plays into what goes on here with the U.S. presidents, okay? But anyways, do you see how that kind of thing kind of plays into Revelation 17 and about the 10 kings not actually having their own kingdom? So any former U.S. president would be a candidate to be in one of those, to be a ruler of one of those kingdoms, I would think, because they didn't actually get a kingdom. They were just president for a short time, right? Okay? And it's just, you know, I just find it strange. I don't know. You know, you'll have to decide what you think about that, okay? But one thing from what I do understand from studying, folks, I brought Donald Trump's name into this, and I'm going to get to that. Okay. But, okay, from what I understand, no one has found a link between Donald Trump and King John Lackland. Okay. Most people seem to believe that Trump is of French descent, but that doesn't mean that he's not one of the other Illuminati bloodlines, right? Okay. So just because he's not the King John Lackland bloodline doesn't mean he's not another bloodline, right? That's my point. Some people even try to trace him back to that Merovingian thing. And I don't know if you probably are familiar. Dan Brown wrote a book. It was about the bloodline of Christ. I can't remember the name of it, but he maintains that Jesus actually married Mary, and they had children, and that's the Merovingian bloodline, and they're like a French, you know, a French bloodline family, and they try to say, oh, well, that's a real thing. Donald Trump's a part of that. It's nonsense, but it's something that gets said, so I'm going to throw it in the video. All right. Now, another thing that most researchers tend to believe is that control over America is being fought primarily by 2 different factions, right? You have the United Nation Canaanites, which would be like Barack Obama Hillary Clinton, and everybody George Soros backs, because everything they do is to undermine power and authority in America, to get America to forfeit their sovereignty and shift that power over to the United Nations. And I don't know if you folks know this or not, Barack Obama was lining up to, go and be the head of the UN if Hillary won the election. And what was her name? Loretta something. One of the people in his cabinets, I can't even remember her position. It was Loretta something though, but she had even had verbiage written up that we would submit even to like a UN police force, like a global police force, and all of this. So they were setting the table for this. So a lot of people believe that the Barack Obama, Hillary Clinton, George Soros camp are what some people would call the United Nations Canaanites, okay? And that basically meaning they want to rule the world from the United Nations, and they are considered to be Canaanites, not Jews, right? Okay. And again, like I said, that would be like the Obamas, Hillary Clinton, the Bushes. They all appear to fight over America with like Donald Trump and his clique, right? And a lot of people believe that Donald Trump is linked to the fake Jews in Revelation 3:9, which I believe that actually. Well, I suspect it. It's hard to say what you believe when you don't have enough facts to really nail something down, but I suspect that might be it, folks. And I want to get into that too. So, some like myself believe that Trump represents the Luciferian Jews because Jared Kushner, his son-in-law, ran his campaign and was in his cabinet. He was negotiating the peace treaty for Israel, like with Solomon of Saudi Arabia and whatnot, okay? And he's, of course, married to Donald Trump's daughter, Ivana Trump. Weird fact. Ivana Trump was given the Hebrew name Jael Kushner, okay? That's what Jared Kushner and his family call her. They call her Jael Kushner or Yael Kushner, okay? That is literally her name over there. That is her name in Israel. That's what they call her, okay? And Vanna was given the Hebrew name Yael Kushner, and in the Bible, a woman named Yael is credited with helping the Israelites conquer a Canaanite king because she murdered a captain of that King Jabin's army. Okay, King Jabin had a army commander, like a captain under him, a guy named Sisera, and this woman Jael murdered him. Right? Okay. And in the Bible, the woman named Jael is credited with helping the Israelites conquer a Canaanite king because she murdered a captain of King Jabin's Canaanite army. A man named Sisera, that's the captain she murdered. So the implication is that the Luciferian Jews named Ivana Trump Jael after she married Jared Kushner because she helped bring her dad Donald Trump into their fold to where he would run for president. And the implication is that they conquered the UN Canaanites over here in America, okay? Like the UN Canaanites would have been Hillary and her bid for the presidency, okay? That she helped conquer them by way of her father because Donald Trump supports the Luciferian Jews, not the UN Canaanites, right? Okay? And they believe the big difference in thinking, folks, is Donald Trump's camp, those Luciferian Jews, believe that the Antichrist will actually rule, that America's Babylon, and the Antichrist will rule the world through the seat of the United States of America. So again, really simple. You've got the United Nations Canaanites, which are mostly the liberals like Barack Obama, Hillary Clinton, and whatnot. They believe that the final system will be a global system, a global government ruled from the UN, okay? And those are the Canaanites, right? People call them the Canaanites. Okay, and then you've got the fake Jews who people believe, like the Freemason, Luciferian Jews like Jared Kushner and his family, and Netanyahu and everybody who's basically involved in all the leadership in the Israeli government. Okay, a lot of people believe that they're fake Jews, right? And they're working with Donald Trump, and they believe that this Messiah that's coming is going to rule the world from America or rise to power in America, right? So they're fighting over that stuff. I hope I haven't confused you. But basically, the story that I'm referencing about this woman named Jael that's in the Bible, or Yale, whatever you want to call her, that is in Judges 4:16 through 24. Okay? And let me get to... Okay. First, let me show you that. I showed you that article. This is the John Lackland fella, okay? Well, I told you that his name meant because he was not expected to inherit significant lands. Even Wikipedia reports that. I wanted to show you that here on his Wikipedia page, okay? Here's Judges 4, 16 through 24. I'm not going to read all that, but that's the story about the Yale woman I told you about. Here's the article that explains. It's from the Jerusalem Post from May 2017, okay? That tells, that basically goes over how the Jewish people, they love Ivana Trump. They, you know, they really you know, they think, for whatever reason, folks, she's kind of captured their hearts. They're really impressed with this woman, okay? And her name is Yale. And in this article, they talk about how her name is actually Yale Kushner. And if you'll get on Google and Google Yale Kushner, it will immediately return results to Ivana Trump, because in Jerusalem, that's her name, okay? And, all right. Another point I want to make, okay? A lot of people would ask me why I believe that Jared Kushner is linked to the Luciferian Jews. He's linked to the Rothschilds, who a lot of people believe are the Luciferian fake Jews, by way of Netanyahu, by way of him trying to put together the peace treaty, which if you're a Christian, you know, the kind of land for peace or the peace deal in Israel is like, you know, it's very important to the end times. It's a part of it. The Antichrist himself will put this peace deal in force, right? Okay, so from what I understand, Jared Kushner, his family, and their friends are Luciferian Jews. Partly, you know, and another reason why is he insisted upon buying and owning 666 Fifth Avenue in New York. Okay, that, along with his close ties with Netanyahu and known Luciferian Jews like the Rothschilds and whatnot, and the people that are controlled by the Rothschilds. Okay, the Rothschilds are actually German, folks. Their real last name was Bauer. They changed it long ago to pretend to be Jewish for money lending advantages and whatnot, you know. And the name Rothschild actually means red shield, okay? Now, I'm going to get some more of that. I'm going to get some more of that in a minute, but let me show you this. Okay, they've actually changed 666 Fifth Avenue just recently this year to 660 Fifth Avenue. What brought that on, I don't know, but it's interesting. But when Jared Kushner owned it, okay, it was 666 Fifth Avenue. He's quoting to say that it was the center of the universe or some kind of weird talk like that. But anyways, I'm going to read this to you. This is off the Wikipedia link. In January 2007, Tishman Speyer, along with the German investment firm TMW, announced the sale of the building. We're talking about 666 Fifth Avenue. They announced the sale of the building to Kushner Properties for $1.8 billion with a B. Okay, that's billion, folks. That's nearly $2 billion. At the time, the highest price ever paid for an individual office building in the United States of America. The sale was the third largest deal involving Tishman in 2 years, and was atypical for several reasons. The Kushner companies had traditionally focused on smaller, multifamily residential properties in New Jersey and only owned one other Manhattan building, the Puck Building. After Charles Kushner was jailed in 2005, his son Jared took over the family company and moved the headquarters from Florham Park, New Jersey to 666 Fifth Avenue. Okay. I mean, that speaks for itself. All right. His dad tried to frame, I can't remember the exact details, but Jared Kushner's dad tried to frame his brother-in-law, okay? For whatever reason, they were arguing about something. I believe it had something that pertained to the business. So he tried to get his sister to divorce this guy, and he hired a private eye who then got a prostitute to set this man up, okay? And they were recording his conversations, but the way in which they went recording him and whatnot was actually against the law. That's what Jared Kushner's dad went to jail for. You know, pretty interesting to research that stuff. But anyways, I wanted to throw that in about 666 Fifth Avenue. And for the people that say this is the guy that you basically trace back to being the main figure that put the Rothschilds on the map. Okay, he was born in 1744. Mayor Amschel Rothschild, I guess Amschel is how you pronounce that. But here's the thing, folks. Here's the thing. As you can see, if you can see that, this is an archive from a New York Times article that was posted about these people, folks, okay? I don't know if you can read that, The Rothschilds could thus conceivably have become known as the Hinterfans, as it was, although Naphtali Herr's son, grandson, and great-grandson continued to use the name Rothschild. Here's what's important. They also used the name Bauer. It was probably only in the next generation, Mayor Amschel's, the name Rothschild stuck firmly as a surname. That right there proves what I just told you, that Mayor Amschel Rothschild is the one that came up with the name Rothschild and concreted it, okay? And it means red shield. So these people were Bowers, and they changed their last name to Rothschild, okay? And pretended to be Jewish for money lending advantages, okay? What exactly that means, I don't know. Okay, I do know that was the alleged purpose, but the ins and outs and who the Rothschild was doing business with and how they got into banking, folks, who knows? You know, I don't have time to run all of that down. We know that they're a prominent family in banking right now. We know they changed their name, and I can guarantee you, if you want to know what ties they had financially back in the 17 and 1800s, you can dig it up. Somebody's got a book on it, right? I just don't have time to spend a whole lot of time on that. But anyways, this is an archived New York Times.com article. I wanted to show you guys that. All right. So, now here's the thing, okay? So, are these the fake Jews that are actually mentioned in the Bible in Revelation 3:9 that have to worship and Jesus says that they worship before our feet to know that he loved us, right? And I'll read that verse in a minute, show you what I'm talking about, okay? So, is the fact that Donald Trump, who in his penthouse, I think it was the YouTube channel Naphtali 1981, that posted a video of a walkthrough, like they did like a rich and famous walkthrough of his penthouse, and it was full with all kinds of Apollo stuff, folks. All kinds of Apollo iconology and stuff that you would link to Apollo worship. That's not the penthouse that a Christian man would have. So when he says he's a Christian, folks, you know, it's just, quite honestly, I don't believe it's true at all. All right? Plus, when he was asked about sin, he said, well, he just does his best. You know, he gets up and does his best every day. And that's not something that a saved person would say. A saved person would say, yes, I'm a sinner. I sin every day. That's why Jesus Christ died for me. There's no testimony to saying, yeah, I just do the best I can. He's testifying to himself. He has an opportunity to testify about how Jesus Christ died for his sins and doesn't do it. Probably not a Christian, right? Okay. Now, is this why Donald Trump has to say that he's a Christian, just like every other U.S. president, if they have hope of being elected? And folks, you can look. Every person who's ever been the president of the United States of America has said they were a Christian. Barack Obama said he was a Christian and that his church was in Chicago. Joe Biden, right now, claims to be a Catholic. You cannot get elected president of the United States of America without saying that you're a Christian, right? So, could that possibly be, if not all of it, at least part of the fulfillment of this prophecy that Jesus gives us in Revelation 3:9? Behold, I will make them of the synagogue of Satan, which say they are Jews and are not, but do lie. Behold, I will make them to come and worship before thy feet, and to know that I have loved thee. So, I mean, you know, maybe a stretch for some people, but if Jared Kushner and Netanyahu and the Israeli government are basically the synagogue of Satan, they're the Freemason Luciferians, right? Okay, and they're using Donald Trump over here to gain power in America, okay? Then, I mean, that you could, I can personally see how that might be some of this prophecy fulfilled, because they have to cater to us. They have to say that they're a Christian. And Donald Trump, to get anything done in the United States of America, has to cater to Christians. Matter of fact, he's losing a lot of his following because he persists and continues to say that, you know what's a miracle, you know, while they're running around forcing everybody to get it, people are dropping dead, this dude's still calling it a miracle, you know. And he's bragging about how he brought it to us through Operation Warp Speed, and the Democrats should thank him for it, right? You know, that's a joke. That's a joke. I don't want to get into that because this video will get flagged, and then they'll take it down, and I'll have to do it again, and I don't want to do that, right? All right. That's going to pretty much wrap up what I have for this part. I'm going to do at least one more part, okay? And the next part of the series is going to get pretty interesting, folks. I'm going to go over Daniel 2:43 about the final kingdom on earth before Jesus returns, okay? I will also go over why I believe that the 2 feet in Daniel 2:43 are literally America and the Catholic Church. I believe America and the Catholic Church are the 2 feet, and they represent the 2 places of Babylon, folks. the Catholic Church being the religious power and the United States of America being the political power of Babylon. And that's why in Daniel's vision, when you get to the bottom of it, there are 2 feet. Okay? Now I know that could be linked back to the split room and this, that, and the other, and it probably is, but I think it stands for both. I believe that is the culmination getting down to the feet, right? The feet are actually the last part, right? The iron mixed with miry clay and the mingling with the seed of men. I'll read it for you here in a minute. All right. But anyways, I believe it's literally America and the Catholic Church. And I'm going to talk about how they combine to be modern-day Babylon and how the Antichrist might rise to power in America. Okay? That's actually my belief. Okay? I believe that politics right now are being manipulated to absolute lawlessness, to the point to where people will scream out for law and order, folks. And I believe that you will literally have a cry out for what is called Noahide laws, okay? That's Noah, like in the Bible, okay, I'd laws, okay? And those are basically saying, the premise behind that is, we all came from Noah. They'll, they justify the flood, they believe in the flood, and the Noahide laws are, we all came from Noah, so we're all going to adhere to the basic 7 laws that Noah was given when he came off the boat, right? And you're going to see that one of those laws is no sexual immorality. So this homosexual agenda they're pressing down your throat, folks, right now, that's going to go away. I believe the final Babylonian ruling kingdom here will be one that is a fake righteous system. And I believe they're priming us for that in America by forcing all this lawlessness down our throats right now, right? And it goes back to the error of Balaam that's talked about in Revelation and other parts of the Bible. Balaam is the prophet that a king wanted Balaam to prophesy against the children of Israel, and he could not do it because God wouldn't let him do it. He could only repeat what God told him to say, but he later advises that king to send pagan women down there to tempt the Israelite men into sexual sin, and that's literally how Israel got judged, and they lost, and that king was able, I can't remember if it was that king, but anyways, every time that Israel was brought under the subjection to another place was out of sin, folks, right? They were literally hauled off into Babylon and taken over by Babylon because of their idolatry and sin, right? So the error of Balaam is to teach people sin so God will judge them. Really simple. That's what the error of Balaam is. It's mentioned in Revelation. It's mentioned in other parts of the Bible. I believe Jude even references it. Maybe Peter too. Anyways, that is what it is simply. I want what this person has, so I'm going to lead them and their family into sin to get God to judge them so I can come take it. That is the error of Balaam, folks. I believe that's going to play in. And I think that's what we're seeing right now. And then when they're ready, when they've taken America basically from us, they'll reinstitute the Noahide laws, right? Everybody can, even the Bushes had it written while the last Bush was president, folks. He had, I believe his dad too had some of it written into law. They had Noahide laws set basically waiting to be invoked, folks. You can Google this yourself. Google the Bushes and Noahide law. They've got it written in our law as like it's, I can't remember the actual verbiage, but it's written there as almost like a promissory, note or something that when certain things are hit, this will go into effect. It's very, very strange, folks. You definitely want to look into that, okay? I'll bring that up in the next video, okay? But now I've lost my place here. Okay. I believe that America and the Catholic Church will combine to be modern-day Babylon during the end times. And the Antichrist might rise to power in America. That's actually what a lot of Freemasons that founded this country believe, folks. These prophecies of Apollo and Saturn returning that are even quoted on the back of the dollar bill are from Cumae Sybil, okay? She is a prophetess of Apollo, folks, and Virgil quotes her in his writings, right? And they're quoted on the back of the dollar bill. If you Google the terms that are on the back of the dollar bill, and I went over this in the last video, folks, they all go back. They're literally quoting this Cumae Sybil's predictions about Apollo and Saturn coming back, right? Okay? These prophecies of Apollo and Saturn returning are Cumae Sybil prophecies that are quoted on the back of the dollar bill, okay? It's on the Great Seal of the United States of America. So Apollo, Lucifer, coming back is on the Great Seal of America, folks, The pyramid with the all-seeing eye on it, the eye of Horus or eye of Providence, whatever you want to call it. Okay? And we have the womb of Isis and the phallus of Osiris represented in Washington, D.C. with the Rotunda and the Washington Monument, okay? The Catholics have the same type of iconology represented at St. Peter's Square. They've got an obelisk and a dome building, okay? Not to mention D.C. is located in or around Maryland, right? Okay? And Maryland is actually, it's Mary's land, folks. And contrary to popular belief, it's not named after Queen Henrietta Maria, okay? Allegedly, it was actually named by the Jesuits after Mary, as in the implication is the Queen of Heaven that the Catholic hierarchy worship, but they pretend and present it to us as it's Jesus' Mother Mary, right? That's actually the Queen of Heaven worship, folks. But when they say that it's Jesus, the mother of Mary, or when they say it's Mary, the mother of Jesus, they're hiding their occultic beliefs. And it's basically straight out of the Babylonian priesthood that they brought in Rome long ago, folks. There's a book out called A Woman Rides the Beast by Dave Hunt, goes over all that about how the Catholics brought the Babylonian priesthood into the Vatican and whatnot. Very interesting, folks. And a couple more things I want to go over, and look, I've lost my place again. Okay. At some point, I also want to get into what's called the Babylon workings, folks. These are rituals that Aleister Crowley loyalists like Jack Parsons and Scientology founder L. Ron Hubbard did back in the 1940s when they allegedly opened a portal in the desert that might, as some believe, played a role in the Roswell alien story from, the 40s? When was that, 47? Okay? And it also led up to the Greta Treaty that Eisenhower allegedly signed with alien beings in 1954. That was basically the deal that gave these fallen entities permission to abduct United States citizens, mutilate cows and what have you on American land as part of a trade in which our government received advanced technology from these beings, folks, okay? A lot of people, they link that to the technology that we have in NASA and whatnot, so very interesting stuff I want to get into in the future, but for now I'm going to go ahead and end the video here. So until next time, folks, God bless y'all in Jesus' name.